Salutations, nerds! We're watching the MCU in all its glory.
Welcome back to this series we're calling Phased Out. The series designed to make Nick hate Jared and I. We're tumbling through all of the MCU movies, as if we're not tired enough already. Today we are covering, I think, probably one of my more favorite ones. That might be a hot take. I know a lot of people don't.
The start of Phase 2.
Care for this. Iron Man 3. I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking, yeah, it's going to be like the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU. And then, spoilers, of course, the movie breaks itself with Ben Kingsley. We all know that it does.
It's like the one thing that people remember, like when you have as many movies as they have now, it's like each movie becomes like you pull one big thing from it, and this one is the twist.
Which, unlike a lot of people, I enjoy this twist. I don't enjoy the tail end of this twist.
The second half of the twist.
Yeah, the second half of the twist is a little rough, but the twist itself, I actually really enjoy. It's a very Mandarin move to do in the comics, to use some trickery. But yeah, the tail end of the twist is just...
I am a Mandarin!
Yeah, that's a little rough, but yeah.
He's kind of if we could start deep ending here, he's kind of a nothing character.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have much of a motivation other than Tony Stark stood me up in 1999.
I was in a building.
Yep. Yeah,
Tony Stark hangovered him.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing of this character. He doesn't do anything else. It's like he does all of this and basically invents a terrorist.
Yeah.
Just because he's mad at Tony. Like, I'm not buying that.
And like I kind of get it. All of Tony Stark's big villains are people who think they're as smart as Tony, but he slighted them in some small way. But it just really it does not play here.
I don't know.
I even think Ivan in the last movie worked better than this, and that was a bit of a stretch.
I was gonna say, didn't Whiplash have didn't Howard Stark steal the technology from him?
His whole life.
That's more than
altered.
a little slight.
Yeah. Stole it from his father.
Yeah.
The whole and that one works. It's the trajectory of his whole life changed because of one decision to cut someone out of something.
Yeah.
And it's about legacy and being plagiarism.
This one he just ignored him.
Yeah.
Once.
And
a single time.
Even the first movie,
on New Year's Eve at a party.
That's right.
Where there is booze and girls.
Flowing.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to take a meeting at this point? Anybody in their right mind should ignore you at this point.
Yeah, because he isn't anybody to them.
No.
But
of course they're going to think.
But Young Happy is funny.
Yes.
Happy.
When he jumps on him.
Chef's kiss.
Did John Favreau? No, John Favreau did not direct this.
It's Shane Black.
It's Shane Black. It's Christmas. Of course, it's Shane Black.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's right. I forgot this was a Christmas movie. This, for me, it was one that I never really liked when initially when it came out. As I've watched it, I like it more, especially in the context of its own trilogy, because I think I've talked about this before, how Iron Man 1 is developing the suit and kind of retreating into the suit. Iron Man 2 is who am I, the identity crisis piece of it, and then this is who am I outside of the suit. This movie, he spends most of the movie outside of the suit.
Yeah, he's using his intelligence a lot of the time to figure things out, and not suit of armor.
Yeah, and I love that about it, and I think I forgive it its flaws a bit more than I should.
Which I think the flaws are fairly minor compared to what a lot of people say about this movie.
Yeah, well,
there are
that
quite
too.
A few, but not nearly as many as people claim.
I also often wonder
vitriol.
how the Iron Man mask is open in the front where the mouth is. How is he under the water and no water is coming through?
It was coming through. Remember?
No, not in the first one. Not in the first part of the movie. That's only after he takes the arm off.
Gotcha. Because I remember water was coming in when he was making his escape. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
He was blowing real hard, keeping the water out.
I guess. I mean, I assume the Marvel explanation would be, there's some sort of membrane, bots and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't really give them that at this point, though, because he's not using bots on anything. So, 1 Jake, Marvel 0.
Well,
or Iron Man 3-0.
Back on the villain thing too. Even Obadiah had like good
Yeah,
he was already trying to wrestle control the company, and then like the breaking point, even after he tried to have him killed, is he shuts down the weapons manufacturer, which is their bread and butter.
Which not only their bread and butter, but also the sector he's running all of his backroom stuff through.
Yep.
Like, hey, you're shutting down not only the company's best interest, but my personal best interest is now being taken away.
So even that one makes sense, but then this one, it's just he stood me up once.
And he also has a history with Obadiah, whereas Aldrich has a history with Pepper, kinda.
We don't get to see anything of that.
Yeah, no. It's kind of mentioned and hinted at a little bit here and there. He knows Pepper.
You know what would have been interesting, and they could have actually done, and I don't know how much better it makes it, but at least a little. You could show him multiple times through the years. Mm-hmm. Even if it could be one flashback montage in the third act that explains how he kept trying to talk to him and he kept getting ignored.
Yeah.
And it's pent up and built instead of just one time, because I feel like it's giving up pretty easily. It's like, oh, he stood me up. And it's like, well, of course he did. Yeah. He keeps trying and he keeps getting turned away. Then that creates that spite. Like, and that's such an easy fix.
And like I get what they were trying to do with weaving in the girl he hooked up with and Pepper having a connection to Aldrich, but it just still didn't work.
No.
Like the connections weren't strong enough. You didn't delve deep enough into each of these connections. It all basically stemmed around one night. One New Year's night is like the whole thing for all of their motivation, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Yeah.
And then she just gets murked.
That's
like,
oh, funny. Yeah.
I was like, oh, is that? Well, when the movie started, I go, that's right. It's Rebecca Hall, right?
Yeah. I always want to say Rebecca Ferguson, even though I know.
I almost said it.
Yeah.
Rebecca Hall's in this? I don't remember that. And then when it shows up later at the scene where they're holding him hostage, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. And then he shoots her. I go, that's why I don't remember her. She's barely in it. She has like 5 minutes of screen time. Doesn't do a ton for the plot.
No.
That whole side, I know you're going to say differently about another part of the story, but that whole side of the plot with Aldrich and the other players is just kind of nothing.
No, that's actually the part I don't like in this movie is when we are in Tennessee.
That's why I'm saying the other side.
I like the kid stuff. I don't like the what is the serum thing called? The extremist soldiers. I don't like them. They're boring. They don't work. I think
You're talking James Is it Badgedale?
Yeah. It's just, the effects look
cool.
cool.
The glowy guys.
Yeah. We'll call them the glowy guys.
Yeah, they just don't work for me. Anytime they're on screen, I'm kind of bored.
Do they work differently in the comics? I assume they're a thing in the comics.
See, I've never really read much Iron Man. Didn't read the Extremist line at all. So I'm not really sure. I know it's a very popular Iron Man line. But
I think why it works is because he's in a metal suit and they use heat to
and
bend things.
Like I like when they're interrogating Rhodey with the heat. Love it.
Yeah.
That's about it for them though that I really enjoy. I do like Dragon Breath Pepper. He breathes dragon fire and she's just like, nah, shut it down. She's like, nah, I'm good.
Before we get into that section, we can talk about the Tennessee thing.
Yeah.
I think the more typical movie that's in there is he crash land. I think everything leading up to his crash land in Tennessee is actually really good.
Yes, very good.
Him giving his address on TV, people complain about, like, that's exactly what Tony would do.
Especially in the current state he's in. Like, he would 100%.
He's upset.
That was after Happy got hurt.
It's like his friend is hurt. He's upset.
He's going through PTSD.
And he's already, like, incredibly arrogant, too. It's like it's the flip side of he's incredibly arrogant. Because of that, he's incredibly paranoid.
And he's been spending months in his cave just
making
toiling
suits.
Away, making suits, like losing his mind.
Yeah, and I like that side of it. I wish they leaned it. We can talk later about the PTSD a little more. But it feels like the majority of this movie should be in Tennessee.
Yeah.
With the flips, like the back and forth is him in Tennessee without connection to anybody. And the other side of that is you develop the Pepper story with Killian, and if you still want Rebecca Hall. That's what it feels like, but because it's an Iron Man movie, it has to be mostly Tony.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the imbalance is there, so then we're out of Tennessee by the hour mark. I thought that was most of the movie. It's the first half. Mm-hmm. And then we spend an hour after Tennessee. But every time I think about the movie, it's the twist. the end sequence, and Tennessee.
Yeah, it's crazy how little screen time we get with the kid.
Harley.
I don't know why I was going to call him Jake for a second. Yeah. But Harley. And, like, way later, bringing him back for Endgame.
Yeah, that's
Like, it
always
was so weird.
And everyone went, "Who's that?" And I instantly knew. I was like, "Isn't that the kid from
Yeah.
Iron Man 3?" They're like, "What kid?" I go, "The kid from Tennessee."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because everyone
This
forgets about this movie.
I was gonna say this is unfortunately a movie that people forget about in the MCU, and I think it's better than a lot of the stuff that came after it. To be honest with you, I mean, again, like I said, there are flaws.
Yeah.
A lot of flaws. I still think it's better.
Yeah. I enjoyed it when we watched it in that 2019 watch through because everyone hated on it, and then we watched it. I remember your reaction was, "That's much better than I remember," and I said, "That's not that bad. Why do people hate this? It's like I don't like the twist, but it's not that bad. It breaks the movie, but the movie's still decent."
Every time I watch it, the impact of the twist is less on me.
Yeah.
I think it's because the trailer was just made it seem so epic, and then it just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Which is not a fault of the movie at all. It's a fault of my own mind.
Yeah, but the hype around it, and it was coming off of the summer before it was the Avengers. It's like everyone's excited. This universe has been launched. We're getting to Tony. His house is blowing up in the trailer. Like, it's on.
And for comic fans, like, the Mandarin is, like, his number one villain. Like, that's, like, the biggest villain to come out of Iron Man stories is the Mandarin. And then to make a mockery of him, which they did, like, through and through. I do enjoy the twist, but with Aldrich being the pseudo-Mandarin at the end of it.
Well, and then they kind of take it back with that, like, random short that they did.
Yeah.
Where they kind of, they imply that Kingsley is actually the Mandarin. Like, come on, don't try to backwalk this.
No, was it that or that? No, the Mandarin was getting to him in prison. He had somebody, like, come get him, or so. I haven't watched All Hail the King in a while. But that was what opened it up for Shang-Chi and Tony, can't remember the actor's name, to play the real Mandarin.
Wait, that dude
The real Mandarin?
Yeah, Shang-Chi's dad.
is
Oh,
the
Tony
real
Leung?
Mandarin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the real Mandarin. That's why he's got the 10 rings. Yeah, the Mandarin
Okay.
comes with the 10 rings, which are supposed to be... The Mandarin 10 rings are stupid. Real stupid in the comics. One of them puts you in pitch blackness, so you can't see things. One of them, like, controls your shadow. One of them, like, makes a little hurricane around you. They're real dumb. So I'm glad that they just turn into weird punchy things in the Shang-Chi movie. But yeah, Shang-Chi's dad is the real Mandarin in the MCU.
Mind blown, Jake?
Because they can't use Shang-Chi's real dad because his name is very offensive.
Oh.
So they retconned his story to have the Mandarin be his dad.
Probably a smart idea.
Yes.
Back to when we go back to Tennessee, and I'll bring up the PTSD thing now. The scene in the restaurant with Rhodey beforehand that leads it up is very good.
Yeah.
And his PTSD is not necessarily from the battle. It's mainly him almost dying, which then the battle's tied to it. The fact that they can just open up a hole in the sky and attack. Mm-hmm. And now he's paranoid about keeping the people he loves safe.
And we find out later also the fact that, like, America was ready just to nuke New York.
Yeah.
Like, he was not cool with that.
And it sets up what he's trying to do in Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't see this before I watched Age of Ultron the first time, and I was like, why is he so...
Yeah, that's an interesting twist of Tony's personality if you don't watch this before Ultron.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the MCU up until Endgame is Tony Stark's story, and and everybody else is just kind of existing around it.
And honestly, the aftermath of Endgame is, what do we do without Tony Stark?
But they only do that for about a movie and a half.
Now, I'm saying Disney themselves are like, what do we do without Tony Stark? We have no idea. Just throw things at the wall.
But
Hey, here's this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Do you like
Allegations.
this one? Do you not like this one? I
Here's
don't
this
know.
guy. Oh, wait. Allegations.
Yeah. Here's Harry Styles, guys. Do you like him? I don't know.
He's Thanos' brother.
But yeah, this is Tony Stark's story, pretty much.
he probably has easily the best trilogy within this universe, I think we've said.
Yeah.
At least the most consistent. We're
Even though it
only...
doesn't have the best movies, I would say. I'd say some of the most consistent movies. where the issues are all the same issues for the most part.
But it makes a complete story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It works with such a flawed character, honestly.
7 movies in, and we're a little ahead of ourselves, but it is a decent trilogy. Going back to PTSD, it's like every time they do it, they start to lean into it heavy, and I'm like, okay, they're holding off because they're gonna have a big moment where he, I don't want to say overcomes, but learns to live with it is the better way of saying it, and it doesn't happen. He just gets over it. Like his panic attacks. That's a really interesting thing. You have what is essentially a powerful, intelligent, strong main character whose own worst enemy right now is his own anxiety, and he's having these episodes, and he can't deal with it, and nothing happens.
Yeah, like he has them throughout the movie, but like never in
halfway.
That's true. Once he leaves Tennessee, he kind of stops having them.
He's like on the phone with Harley, and Harley just like talks, not really talk, just think it, just build something. Yeah. Okay, he does. He's fine. Never brought up again, and I'm like,
honestly, the
there's
best
so much there.
He's already down and out with Aldrich before Pepper comes in and saves the day. Have him have one there, like at death's doorstep. Have him have a panic attack, and maybe Aldrich makes fun of him about it.
Yeah,
you have Killian just teasing him, making fun of him, and then he doesn't see Pepper coming because he's busy. Oh, you're the little guy now. It was me 20 years ago. Now it's you. Look at you cowering.
Look at you cowering. I'm the Mandarin.
Yeah, and then he screams, I'm the Mandarin again.
It's like, cool moment, stupid line, whatever.
Like, you could have leaned into it real hard at the finale, and that's what causes him to take the shrapnel out, is like, hey, I need to get myself figured out.
Yeah. One thing I will say, and you know this from my opinion on Avatar, The Last Airbender, I think that Pepper should have stayed dead.
Oh, we're talking about the end now with Pepper.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, there's a whole online discourse for a while about like, should she have stayed dead? Mm-hmm. And on one half, the argument is this is what makes sense story-wise because this is the consequences of his actions. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because the whole point is he's so paranoid about protecting the people he loves that he puts them right in the line of fire.
Also, I think at that point, Gwyneth Paltrow was done with the MCU, pretty much, like mentally done with the MCU.
Yeah, I think she was only contracted out through this movie, and yeah.
But then
she never really cared about the franchise. It was just like, hey, it's just a job for me. Unlike some of the actors who was like, nah, this is the job for me.
And then
Chris Hemsworth probably.
Yeah,
Chris Evans.
He's like, I'm a star now.
And the other side of that discourse then is that would be fridging her.
Yeah.
And fridging, I feel, like a lot of things that people take negatively, I think it's a neutral thing. Mm-hmm. The problem becomes, who are the victims of the most fridging in media throughout this last century? Yeah. Women. Because the whole point of killing this female character is for the sake of the development of the male counterpart. Mm-hmm. So I understand why that is not a good thing. But I also know, like, the story gears it up to be that, and I bet you someone said at one point, well, we can't kill her. Like, the fridging thing is not in their mind. Yeah. It's more, well, we can't kill her.
She's pretty. We can't kill her.
No, what you do is you pull a twist, is she survives that, and then
becomes
Tony
the new
gets
Mandarin.
A call that Happy died at the hospital from his injuries. Or that one of the...
Okay, that would be interesting.
Or that one of the extremist guys, they didn't kill him. He went after Happy. Maybe it was the guy that was around the explosion the first time. Leave him alive. Let him go after Happy.
But then if Happy dies, we won't get one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the MCU. The graveside with Peter.
Yeah.
Is that the did you know him scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like they put in this effort to kill her, which if they're going to do that, you'd think it'd be more dramatic. It's just and he barely misses her. It's like, man, if you slow that down, add some more shots, and they don't have to be boom, 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 but like stretch this a little bit. You've got a pretty powerful moment of he's just not close enough to save her, and this is what he gets.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound, not trying to sound insensitive about it.
Especially since they've been fighting for most of the movie.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah, which I do love. When the missiles come, he throws the suit under. Good scene.
Real good. I also like her using it to get the other woman out.
Yep. Which again, if they don't reveal that she's working for Killian, I kind of liked this dynamic of the two of them working together. Again, if you have most of it in Tennessee, and they're the flip side of figuring things out because they think Tony's dead and Tony cannot get in contact with them, or it's too dangerous to get in contact with them. Because the secret network thing to let her know he's okay is kind of like, of course he would let her know he's okay, but on the other side, it's like it takes out some more dramatic stuff because it's real quick. It's like instantly he goes to the phone booth. Maybe he goes to the phone booth, leaves the message, and then she doesn't get it at first, and later, a classic sees the something blinking on the secret server, and then she thinks, why
I thought that she didn't get it right away. Because she did see it blinking. She got it through the helmet, right?
Yeah, but I say right away is in like a scene or two later.
Yeah.
Barely any time passes between the two moments because her like relieved when she knows he's alive would feel more impactful if there's more
struggling with him being gone for a while.
And it doesn't have to be too long, but it's within 10 minutes.
It's a common thing in the MCU, like even when a character's perceived dead or is dead, you don't get to see the grieving.
Nope.
Not till much later, where we get to see some grieving happening in the MCU. But
I don't know. We kind of got to see grieving in Avengers a little bit.
Kinda forced grieving.
Yeah.
Coerced grieving.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most impactful MCU death.
We all just met him 20 minutes ago grieving.
Yep. Yeah.
I love Coulson, but they all just met him. Why was he more important than any other SHIELD agent on that show?
I don't think I mentioned that last week. The moment of being in the theater is either being in the theater. However, I was watching it the first time. I think it was theater. Sitting there, he gets stabbed by Loki, and you have Thor's, and I said,
Wait.
"Oh no!"
I feel like that was your impression of Thor.
Yeah.
You need to do it again.
Pretty
that's
accurate.
that's your impression of Thor. Do your impression of Coulson. There you go.
But Loki does it. It's supposed to be this big moment, and I was like, "Oh no!
It's the dude.
Who's that? I don't know who this is." And then when we watched him, order, it's like I'd not seen Hulk, even though he's not in it. But it's like I'd not seen Hulk. I didn't remember he was in the first Iron Man, and then I'd not seen Iron Man 2, which he's a big part of that.
Yeah. That's the problem with this formula.
And all the one-shots where he's like the key focal point of it. It's him and Sitwell, which they were very heavy on when they were releasing those.
Yeah.
Well, and also, it's the problem with this formula. It requires you to watch the after credit scene and the mid-credit scene and, like, remember what happened in them.
Yeah, like we can, week to week, but year to year, it's hard. And that's why
it almost forces you to buy the thing. Oh, shocker.
Yeah, the
built-in incentive for continued watching and purchasing.
Disney would never do that.
Well, this wasn't Disney at the time.
That's fair.
I just remember that moment of not understanding who that was, and it takes all the wind out of the sails of this death. And you're right, like Thor has more of a connection than this. That one makes sense. Why him right there yelling no.
Yeah.
But even in Tony, it makes sense. But like Cap doesn't.
Yeah, he was a fan of you, Cap. Aren't you so sad he's gone?
Well, and then
you were annoyed with him, aren't you? So
I get it.
sad.
Cap is mad that any innocent, good, working person, and if Nick Fury's telling me to be mad about this guy specifically, I will be.
And then him putting the blood on the cards, like those were in his lockers. Like they needed a push. I go.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I mean, Fury also knows that he's being sent off to be revived in some secret program. So he's like, all right, let me get some blood first. All right, take him.
Yep. Back to Iron Man 3. Though.
That show is bonkers.
Yeah.
This is as big as the first Avengers movie was. I think Iron Man 3 is the second it exploded.
Yeah.
Because Avengers is the higher grossing movie and was the cultural phenomenon when it came out. But I think Iron Man 3 is the start of it's not just this one big movie. This is going to continue to be big because Iron Man 3 made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because one did so well, it's like it carries into the next one. But then I don't think the second Thor did as well.
No.
For many reasons, one of them being just when one movie is disappointing to a big group of people, that carries into the next one. They don't feel compelled to go see it, or if they do, they don't go see it again. And especially when that one's quality is much, much less than most of this universe.
Yeah, and the first Thor, unlike Iron Man, was pretty much universally praised even when it came out. The first Thor, not so much. It was very mixed reactions. Very different than Iron Man.
Yeah.
So going to a follow-up, which also looked to be very Shakespearean, and yeah, it did not draw the same hype as a third and final Iron Man, which we kind of knew was the finale based on some of the contracts that were coming up in the MCU.
I don't know. They were in movies. I mean, I don't know anything about the contract or anything, but they were in movies for like 10 years after that.
Yeah, there was a lot
Or
of
8
contract
years after that.
extensions, and a lot of people at the time were like, when they pop up in a movie, does that count as one of their movies? Like when Chris Evans pops up for 10 seconds in Dark World, is that one in his contract?
Favorite scene of that movie. I tell you.
Like, so people were like, all right, so if he has this many, do we count this? Do we not count this? He did a one shot. Is that a part of it? So
People have too much time on their hands.
then you got to think the MCU was the thing right around this time after Avengers. So
Right.
people were like, how many more of these do we get with these characters?
We get like
So
30 more
many
at this point.
All of the movies. Nobody wanted to leave. They like a paycheck.
And then they die, and then they come back.
And it's an easy paycheck, too. A lot of this stuff, not to say acting is easy, but like...
Again, I'm gonna keep quoting Michael Caine on this one. They show up to your house with a dump truck full of money. What are you gonna do? Say him no?
Yeah.
His other quote of, I've never seen Jaws the Revenge. I've seen the house that Jaws the Revenge
Yep.
bought. It's very nice. So
I
it's
like
like,
Michael Caine so much.
yeah. So I think back to Iron Man 3, it has opportunities to be better.
Yeah.
Like, twist notwithstanding, there's a lot of good stuff that they don't commit to as much as they can, because that's what this universe does. It holds back when it shouldn't, and it gets very annoying. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
That's what stinks about watching this.
Iron Man ends before it gets worse.
Yeah.
So as far as we know right now.
Yeah.
There's another thing that watching a later movie really, really hurts when you didn't watch this one, because I didn't see this one until our rewatch 5 years ago, when I saw Civil War and Cap hits the reactor with the shield.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that gonna kill him? I think Cap just killed him. And then you watch this movie. Oh, that's not keeping him alive anymore.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because another good thing of like
He
him
doesn't get
throwing
to
the
end of
reactor into
movie,
the
though,
sea.
right? I'm remembering
What?
that. He doesn't get the surgery till the end of the movie,
Yeah.
though. Right?
Yeah.
The last.
But it's still like in this movie that I did not see
Okay.
before I saw Civil War the first time, and I'm like, I think Cap just killed him.
I'm trying to reconstruct events, because isn't it in Infinity War that there's a conversation about you don't need this anymore? Why do you still wear it?
Yeah.
Is that
no,
Infinity War? Or is that
Endgame.
that's an Endgame?
It's Endgame when he comes back after being away, and then he's like, all right, then you take it, and he rips it off and shoves it at Cap, and he passes out on the floor after being stranded in space for a while.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where were you going?
We remember too much about this stupid franchise. I haven't even gotten to rewatch those movies yet.
It's okay. You love what you love,
That is true. See, sometimes you can't even explain it.
right, Jared?
Yeah. I'm still thinking
I like
about.
it.
I know you like it. I'm just still thinking about that twist, because even this time I'm like, it still bugs me. It's so cool before that reveal. It's such
I
a.
love
don't know,
that
though.
reveal. Mostly because of Tony's reaction of just utter confusion, and then Rhodey comes in and guns blazing. He's like, whoa, wait. This ain't what it seems like it's gonna be. I just loved it.
I mean, like Nick said, it makes sense that a businessman would put a front person in front of them so that they're not culpable.
Yeah.
We might be seeing some stuff like that happen in our real reality.
I think it's less about what makes sense and more about the cooler thing is the thing that's not real or teased.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this universe afraid of being cool? Because that is such a cool thing they had built, because it's using
why
modern.
is this franchise afraid to be comic booky?
See,
Yeah.
I think they thought they were being cool doing this, making Aldrich the Mandarin and having a connection to Tony.
Yeah, don't you
and
want Guy Pearce just like half naked
Tony
everywhere?
This whole time. It was never really about terrorism. It was about going after Tony, even though they don't really lay into that as much as they could have. Which was it? The terrorism or Tony? Like, what was his end goal really?
Yep.
We never got a decision on that.
It makes no sense.
It was a little bit of both, I guess.
You created a fake terrorist with this network of people and these, like, super peoples just to get back at this guy.
Or
like,
was it not? Or was Tony just an extra step in there? Like, was he always just about the terrorism once he figured out he could? And Tony just happened to be there?
like
I don't know.
It just
All I
doesn't make
remember is
sense.
Christmas bulbs that explode.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked all his little homemade gadgets.
Where it
Little
felt
zapper
like-
on his hand, little zapper.
Felt
gun.
like Home Alone.
Oh, so much so.
When he's running around in the...
See, but that's the great part. It's outside the suit. He's like, it's not locked into this This is a Marvel character that we have to do X, Y, Z.
It's a smart guy who can think for himself and is.
I like when they
tinkerer.
make these characters seem normal, even though we know intellectually that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I will just defend this. I've gotten to the point where I'm okay with defending this movie.
Oh no, you just brought up like one of my favorite parts of the movie is Tony using his tech knowledge to not have to use his suit. Which I kind of wish we saw more of that going forward.
Which, again,
But we
in
kind of do
Tennessee.
because he uses his tech knowledge to make nanotech to where he never has to use his tech knowledge again.
But that still harkens back to if most of this movie is him in Tennessee where he's trying to fix the suit and he can't, he's disconnected from the world and he's forced to be outside it, that he doesn't even have Jarvis to help him. Like, it's like, that's so interesting. And put the PTSD and the anxiety attack or panic attack, whatever one he was having, like, there's so much there and they don't, they fly through
that
it.
probably could have been a movie by itself.
Too many cooks. There's too many things going on. Like,
Yeah.
too many cool things making the whole final product not very cool. In the long run.
Yeah. Which is a shame because the Air Force One rescue, it's a cool scene.
Yep.
It's weirdly placed.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense for the story. But it's like, we've done this whole
Was that
first
Air Force
half.
One?
Yeah, because that's where they kidnapped the president.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then he said, what does he say after he blasts James Badge Dale with the center thing? He says, like, something, it's basically the equivalent of Wolverine in The Last Instinct.
Yeah.
Grow those back.
Yeah.
It's like one of those one-liners. But it's a cool scene. He has everyone, like, grab hands because it's like, okay, one suit, like 20 people. How do I do this? And it's like, it's such a weird placement because we did the first half in Tennessee. Then we have the whole thing where he Home Alone's into the house. Then gets captured. And now he's free and the president's... It's like...
I feel like the capture part should have been, like, third act leading into the finale, but we have to divert to this first.
Yeah. I do like all the suits coming to help, though.
I've
That's
heard a lot
fun.
of people complain about that, but I really...
Why would they complain about that?
I don't know. I
And then he
think I remember
destroys
complaints
them.
being like, "Oh, it's just a reason for them to sell more toys," and this. Like, yeah, of course it is, but it works within the story. So like, it
Well,
works.
and then he destroys them. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
And it's like it's also a way for us to see different cool versions of what's going on in his mind, like the Igor suit.
I like-
propping things up. Like that's so cool.
I do like that final battle, like how he jumps out of suits and into other suits. And like that, they don't do that enough, I
Yeah.
think, in that sequence. But
I also love back to the plane thing. I love when he knows like, hey, I'm not like gonna be able to stand up to this person. Let me send just a suit to go do this mission. I'm not getting near hot hands up there if I don't have to. Suit, go. You go fight.
That's right. And he's just on the boat.
Yep. He's down there
That was
controlling
good
it. Yeah.
The part, because it's calling back to earlier in the movie when he's trying to do date night with Pepper and he's not actually there. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
buddy.
But then using it in a smart way.
Yep. I kind of wish we didn't see a bunch of suits or he didn't like say too much about building a bunch of
And
suits.
that was hidden
Then
from
that-
us like it was Pepper.
Yeah, the Pepper thing, it's like you see her get the injection so you know she has it, but then the reveal of it is so
but
silly.
I feel like if we did that, then when they did the house party protocol or whatever it's called, we'd be like, where'd all those come from? This is stupid.
Unless it is through dialogue where they've been saying, like, I can't sleep. I've just been...
Jared, people don't pay attention to dialogue with these movies.
Which would then they'd complain about something that is explained to
You gotta
them.
think, this was Phase 2. People paid way too much attention to every bit of dialogue in these movies because Tumblr was up and running and every scene was photo and the quote from that scene. Didn't matter if it was important to the story. If they liked Pepper, every scene she was in, every one of her quotes was on a little picture on Tumblr. It's not now where everybody hates the MCU. People were latching onto every word they were saying back then.
That's fair.
Yeah, they had everyone in their pocket then.
I
They had everyone in their pocket
snuggled
5
in there
years
deep.
ago.
I was snuggled in that pocket.
They had the whole dang world in the palm of their hand, and look what they did. They turned it into a...
They're still making way too much money.
They're making way too much money to change, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Do we have more to say? That's
That's a good
good.
movie.
I like it.
It's up there with my favorite Shane Black movies. This and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
It goes up every time I watch it, like I said. That's all I have, really, to say about it.
Oh, I watched this movie. I said it in another episode, but on last Iron Man one. I watched this movie like 40 times in theaters, but never the full thing. Just bits and pieces as waiting for a ride after work. So I've seen parts of this movie many times. That plane scene especially.
I don't think those people would have been okay after that, but...
No, especially the first one's dragging in the water.
Yeah. Well, it's like water. If you're moving at a certain speed, it's like concrete anyways, so...
Also going that fast, being that first person with like 6 people attached to your knees, those things aren't in the sockets anymore. A lot of your sockets are disjointed.
It looks cool, though.
It does.
I suppose disjointed knees is better than dead.
Death, yeah. Fair.
But hey, it's the only live-action adaptation of Wii Sports Resort we're gonna get. Because you know the opening of the game, right? The skydive thing. That's all I was thinking about that whole scene. I'm like, this is cool. But okay, they've all joined hands. Now they all got to turn and smile for the camera, like that. And then all the parachutes, but there were no parachutes.
No parachutes this time. Yeah, Wii Sports Resort gone wrong.
Yeah, I think it's better. The movie is better than the second Iron Man. I think it does the same thing where it's juggling a lot, but here they lighten the load, do a little more character stuff than even the second one did, and I think it's better. I think it's better. Most people say that. I wonder if that's another thing because people hated that second one. I wonder if when this one's trailer dropped, everyone got really excited, like, okay, Iron Man's gonna be good again, even though we liked the second one.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason for hype, other than Avengers, other than it's Iron Man, new MCU. It's okay. This looks like a more intense Iron Man movie. We're finally getting back on track for that series. So
yeah, and I think also like the being drunk all the time from palladium poisoning is not as good of a issue for Tony as PTSD from everything he's gone through. It just plays so much better. Like, yeah, the palladium poisoning was one fine, I guess. But it felt so shoehorned in for a reason for him to be having issues.
I think it's very good as an idea because the second one, as we probably said, juggles so much. We don't have time for it because the reason he's acting out and doing all these things and signing his company over is because he's dying. Yeah. And the guy who figures everything out, can't figure it out. Yeah. And that's why. And I think we said, like, if we leaned into this more,
instead of
it'd be better.
Couple scenes, we just get him looking into his levels.
Yep.
Okay.
And if we had more of a struggle to make the new element, because once he sees the thing, he just figures it out, and then doesn't. We mentioned how difficult it is to get, and then he does it in the first try.
He discovers time travel.
It's like, I get it, but I feel like the thing that made the first movie work so well is watching the creative process and how he gets there through trial and error. Yeah. And this one we don't have time. Literally in the movie there's no time and all. It's like, but I feel like that struggle to find it would have been so interesting.
Yeah, I think we get a good amount of it here, at least for the first half. But like you said, I wish it would have just continued through the rest of the movie. It's just the very finale. Yeah.
The PTSD is just gone.
Like, how is that not one of the motivating factors of him getting the shrapnel taken out? Of like, hey, I need to get myself figured out. By that point, he's not dealing with it anymore.
It was just, because I remember thinking, like, okay, I remember the PTSD. What? Okay, that's in it more than I remembered. Mm-hmm. How does he get over it again or deal with it again? He does. It's gone.
Build the thing.
We build the thing. I go, okay, but that should be to help him get over this one thing. Yeah. This one attack, not just fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was annoying.
Then again, I'm not really sure Tony ever got over his PTSD in the MCU.
That's true.
It does kind of pop up here and there.
There's the whole thing about he always grabs his arm like this.
Yeah,
too.
like he's still struggling up until his death with all this stuff. So like, I think that's the answer.
And
he doesn't get over it.
And just
he
more
is,
more stuff happens to him.
Yeah, he just struggles more and more until he snaps at all of his friends and goes off and lives in a woods with Pepper. And still struggles.
So here's a question. I just remember this. So the scene in the bar before the what'd you call them, the glowy guys or something?
Yeah.
Come and attack,
The
and
boom booms.
and Dale Dickey is there because every small Midwest town or south
Dale Dickey.
Yeah, that's the woman there.
Yeah.
She's in like
he talks to her in the bar. Yeah, before FBI lady pops up.
Yeah, she's in she's this character actor, plays those types of roles.
Yep.
So I saw her and I go, okay, there's Dale Dickey. Yep, we're in a small town.
Yep.
In Hollywood. Yep. But then like he gets the file and they like slide the file. One of them kicks it underneath something while they attack. Do we ever see that file again?
No, I don't think so.
So what was the point?
For him to get the information.
But why did they show kicking the file then?
I think it's so the bad guys didn't get the information.
Gotcha. What was the information again?
I don't know.
See?
No, it's just the extremist stuff. It's that I think it's been a week since I watched this. I think it was that the soldier boy that blew himself up on accident had like a perfect record, but went into the extremists program, and it kind of links them to his explosion. And it's not a he was trying to kill people thing; it was a they killed him situation.
Yeah. So it's like, then why does it matter if the bad guys already know that?
It doesn't matter. And also, all of it was blacked out.
Redacted. So it's a dossier or folder of different dossiers of redacted information that the glowy guys either already know or their superiors already know, so they don't need the information, is such a vital part of this scene. And when they get there to attack, they just kick it under a table or whatever, and it's never spoken of again. It has no point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, like, okay, is this important for later? Nope. Kind of like a smoking gun type thing of like, there it is, and it's just going to sit there.
It's literally just to give Tony information, so he's like, oh, I know who to go after. But not really.
And maybe it's for so they don't warn them so he can break in Home Alone style.
Sure.
But still, it's like, it feels like they wouldn't care.
I guess maybe he doesn't want them knowing what information he has and doesn't have.
Yeah, so then it tells you, wouldn't it be better if Dale Dickey or someone he met there, it's all done verbally?
Yeah.
And then they attack. Because otherwise,
these movies are all about handing over dossiers, Jared.
But he doesn't like people handing him stuff.
That's true. That's why she slides it across the table at him.
Yeah, that was one detail. It's like, I feel like that's supposed to be more important, but we never see it again.
That's the real hero of the MCU, the dossier.
Just
truly.
It's still there to this day.
It's just sitting on set underneath that table.
It's like that one newspaper that's reused in every movie ever. It's the MCU dossier. We just changed the name on the front of it.
Just change the picture that's paper clipped on the bottom inside.
We have one folder with a SHIELD logo on it. Make it count.
You know what even might have been better? What if he comes across the information and he wants to give it to her because he was asking questions earlier in the again, if you stretch out the Tennessee stuff, you have him ask questions, she doesn't want to answer because she didn't want to think about it. And then when he acquires the information, he gives it to her, and that's when they attack him because he's about to leave, and they attack him because they know where he is.
You're supposed to do a lot of detective work, Jared. Yeah, he's a rich billionaire superhero, but he's not Batman. He is not the world's greatest detective.
And his mom's name is not Martha.
Yes.
Sorry, that's been a running joke for me.
What is it? Martha Stark?
No. I don't know.
That would be...
Is it possibly? No, it's not.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, the dossier thing, now that you say it, I never really thought past that kick. Because the movie never thought past that
Yeah,
kick.
because then my thought
that's
is
true. It never really is talked about again.
because then my thought would be like, oh, imagine he goes there to tell her. She doesn't want to talk to him. It is more cliche, but it works. And then she finds it. They kick it under the table. She finds it and reads that. Okay, he was right. Even after he tells her, I don't think he killed those people.
Yeah.
And then she reads it, and you don't even have to. It's like one shot where she's reading, and you see her react. That's it.
I think maybe the whole scene is just for Tony to be like, hey, your son's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Just giving her some reassurance. Maybe we need some credit for some karma for Tony. So they're like, make him a good guy in this scene. Have him help this mother who's grieving.
His mom's name is Maria.
Maria. I knew it was an M name, but like Martha did not sound right. Once I said Martha Stark.
That's right. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the little Yinsen cameo at the beginning, because he said in the first movie, we've actually met.
Yeah.
But you won't remember. Again, going to the whole thing with Aldrich. It's like, the guy's drunk, and he wants to go upstairs and get laid.
Exactly.
Do you really think he cares about you, a nobody who's getting past security to talk
When
to
you're
him?
self-centered, yeah, you do think that. And Aldrich Killian was very self-centered, Jared.
Again, it plays into the this guy's motivation is nothing.
He's a Discord mod who's mad that he got unmodded.
He's like, we'll just wait and see.
I'm gonna make my own Discord.
I'm gonna make my own. It's gonna be
Mine
better
will
than
Mine will
yours.
make people blow up. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna be the Mandarin. That's that
I am
character,
the
basically.
Mandarin.
Yeah, I am the Mandarin. Hear me.
That's his Discord at Dumb Mandarin.
The Mandarin. Oh man, they were trying to do that with Doctor Doom. They were gonna make him a hacker in the one. I'm so glad they didn't do that. It didn't save the movie.
Fan Force stick, right?
Yeah,
I've never seen Fan
We don't
Force.
have to
Bad
watch.
movie.
We don't have to watch that as a part of this, do we?
No.
No.
Well, they might make it canon. Who knows?
Screw that. No, we're not doing that.
Only canon when it came out and counts.
Is that Josh Trank who directed that?
It is
And
Josh
that's
Trank.
because he made Chronicle before it, and that's how he got the job.
Yep.
And then he wasn't online like 6-7 years ago defending Fan Force stick, like super hard defending it, and everyone's just clowning him.
Yeah, and more recently, there is a Josh Trank version of the movie that he said he will never release. That is a completely different story, but he kind of told people what the story was, and it sounds really cool. But we'll never see that version, so R.I.P. the Trankiverse for the Fan Force movies.
Trankiverse.
Is Chris Evans Johnny Flame in that one?
No, Michael B. Jordan is. Killmonger is.
God.
Yeah, it's
They
Michael
should
B.
make it
Jordan,
canon. That would be
Miles
hilarious.
Teller.
Miles Teller, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell.
Yep.
That sounds like it should be good.
Right, but they all hated each other. Well, Miles Teller hated the director, and they would constantly get into verbal and physical fights on the set. So,
Fair.
Who played? Because Doom's in that, right? You
you
just said Doom had a hacking thing that they cut, but Doom
Yeah,
was in it.
Doom is in it.
And who plays Doom?
I can't remember his name.
Doom.
It's not Dane DeHaan, is it?
No, Dane DeHaan was in Chronicle.
Danny
That's what I'm
Pudi.
thinking of.
Yeah, but he's also a Green Goblin, kind of.
Danny Pudi. That would be funny. I'd be.
As Doctor Doom, I'm so in.
Yeah, be here for it.
Toby Cabell.
Toby
Or
Cabell.
Kebbell, however you say that.
Cavill?
Yeah, stop typecasting people. Give me Danny Pudi as Doctor Doom. Give me something that nobody ever saw coming.
I don't know. I never saw Danny Pudi in the Avatar series, and he's there. He's there. He's also much older than I thought he was, but
Yeah, that's very true. I saw him on what was it? Maybe a Bill Maher interview. And I was
that
like, oh.
seems like a weird place
It's
to
like-
find Danny
It's
Pudi.
like, oh, you're not a college student anymore.
I don't know that he was a college student when he was on
He
Community.
wasn't, no, but he pulled it off well enough because, community college, also college, you can be any age.
It's fair.
He pulled
good
off
show.
the younger one, at least, of the
What a
group.
good show.
Oh, yeah.
What a roller coaster of a show. We're going to
What
start
a
getting
good-
some pedigree of that show in the MCU soon.
What a good 3 seasons of that show. Well,
Season
maybe
5
4.
is good.
Yeah.
6 is fine. There's just one bad
Six
season.
is just different.
That's the Yahoo season.
Yeah,
Aren't they going to do a movie eventually?
It's a thing.
Yeah, being made now. I think the script is done. They're just waiting for everybody's schedule to clear up to shoot it. Yeah.
I have a feeling like that's going to be bad.
It might be, but we'll see.
I don't know, I'm excited. They've got pretty much everybody back outside of the people they don't want back. So,
I wonder who that is.
huh? But yeah. Anyways, Iron Man 3.
I think I said everything.
You can always tell when we're done with talking about a movie when we start talking about something else.
That was mine.
Are we good?
Yeah.
All right. I guess everybody, that's our take on Iron Man 3. If next week we're gonna be watching the titillating Thor: The Dark World, the second best Thor. But until then, if you want to find us elsewhere on the internet, Jared, where can they find us?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you like us and rate us on all those apps and check out our groovy website.
And until then, just keep trudging along with us as we get more and more phased out. I'm Jake, this is Jared, and that's Nick. See you later.
How am I supposed to control how I feel on a day-to-day basis? And I was like,
Me?
I told you.
there.
I told you.
We'll get to that in a second.
yeah.
Can we pause? I really have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
So dumb.
It's like, okay, they're all coming back.
But for what, though? They don't have a...
To fight things.
What things? The only things that we have currently...
Is going to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to bed.
Yeah, are you
In
speeding?
10 hours.
I mean, you could... Yeah. I mean, you could fall asleep right there.
Oh, you have no idea how close I am.
You said yeah?
Yeah. Where were we now? Before I had to revisit Buffalo Wild Wings.
Iron Man 3.
All right.
Wait, that's the Green Ranger.